The Rivonia trial was named after Rivonia, the suburb of Johannesburg where leaders had been arrested, and documents discovered at Lily's Leaf Farm, privately owned by Arthur Goldreich, on 11th of July, 1963. The farm had been used as a hideout for the African National Congress and others. Among the others, Nelson Mandela had moved onto the farm in October 1961 and evaded security police while masquerading as a gardener and cook called David Motsamai. The Rivonia trial took place in South Africa between 1963 and 1964, shortly after the arrests at Lily's Leaf Farm. The Rivonia trial led to the imprisonment of Nelson Mandela and the others among the accused, who were convicted on life sentences. During the trial, the African National Congress members were tried for 221 acts of sabotage designed to overthrow the apartheid system.
Now I look at the judge and I find that the judge is shaken. And I say, well, the only thing that would make a judge shake is he knows that they're going to be sentenced to death.
The idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
My name is Nelson Mandela. I'm the first accused. I do not deny that I planned sabotage. I did not plan it in the spirit of recklessness, nor because I have any love for violence. The hard facts are that 50 years of non-violence had brought the African people nothing but more and more repressive legislation and fewer rights. Africans want a just share in the whole of South Africa. We want equal political rights. One man, one vote. I have dedicated myself to this struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination. I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a free, democratic society where all persons live together in harmony with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and achieve. But, if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
The Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Uthant, wrote a letter to Verwoerd in South Africa to say that if you in South Africa go ahead and demand the death penalty and execute the Rivonia trialists, that is Nelson Mandela and the others, then it'll be impossible for the international community to resist the pressures for economic sanctions.
The crime of which the accused
have been convicted, crime of conspiracy, is in essence bona fide treason. Giving the matter very serious consideration, I have decided not to impose the supreme penalty, which in a case like this would usually be the proper penalty.
The African National Congress. The Congress has roots back to the numerous wars against British and even Boer colonizers. A mass movement of the African National Congress began in the 1950s and was in resistance to the apartheid, which aimed to segregate different racial groups, which many believed were for the benefit of white racial prejudices and maintained racial power for them. An armed struggle began in the 1960s when the ANC took up arms against South African government in 1961. The massacre and peaceful ANC protesters and the subsequent banning of the ANC, which started a period of violent protests which intended to force the racial regime to change. On July 11, 1963, police raided the ANC headquarters and arrested important ANC members, including Nelson Mandela, who was in hiding. By arresting much of the leadership of the revolution, some remaining ANC leaders fled and left to other countries. ANC had little support for foreign organizations, as all of the surrounding governments, such as Angola, were all controlled by colonial governments and were all against the abolishment of apartheid. During the 60s, due to the banning of the liberation movements, there was little sign of resistance until the 70s, when the ANC became far more open than a political group, and its purpose became far known, and the protests against the government include lower class workers and even students. In particular, the protest of 1,000 high school students took to the streets in June 1976 to protest the compulsory use of Afrikaans in schools, leaving 1,000 dead.
People were weeping with joy that they had not received the death sentence. A life sentence for the Rivonia trialists was one of the biggest boosts to us in the underground, giving us a sense that we could go on fighting and we would win one day.